On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Pantheon of the Nightside Gods by Beelzebubs?
It's not Beelzebubs. Is it Beelzebubs?
It's Beelzebubs.
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 Mm-hmm. It's close to the biblical
Yes.
Lord of the Flies, but
Sure. Okay. Intro. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
You're listening. Oh, hi. Yes, you are a part of everyone
Yes.
as well. You're listening to an episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're professional broadcasters. We're also metalheads, and we like to talk about it. So today, we're talking about a brand new album. This one
album.
came out 2 weeks ago, or was it last week sometime?
It was,
Early last week, I think.
I think it was in April.
In April, maybe.
It initially came out in April. I looked it up.
April 26th.
Yeah.
That's when it was. It's called Pantheon of the Nightside Gods by a lovely little, technically, I guess, Finnish band called Beelzebubs. We'll talk more about what their deal is later. It's delightful.
Indeed.
What's up with you? What's been going on? How are you doing?
Well, let's see. The weather's nice. I'm doing good. Got to do some yard work.
Yeah.
Got to get to doing that.
That's what happens when it gets nice outside.
Yeah, the grass grows. And
The grass grows.
and that stuff that's not grass.
What else?
Weeds.
Yeah.
Weeds.
Okay. I was like, what's not grass but grows? So many things. Oh, God. Yeah, that tends to happen.
Yeah.
God, the wind today has not been great.
No,
It's been very, very windy, but...
you hardly have perfect days here in North Dakota. If it's going to be nice temperature, it's going to blow literally.
Yeah. We hit 80 here today for the first time this year, and great stuff. It's not sticking around, though.
No, it's going to be back into the 50s on the weekend.
Back to your regularly scheduled programming for the next week or so.
I think I actually heard a meteorologist say the word shitty. Yeah.
Was that on or off the air?
Yes.
Okay. It's did you do, or I suppose did your wife do anything for Mother's Day?
Yeah, I mean, we got her. I guess we weren't very creative.
Did you do anything for your wife on
Yes.
Mother's Day?
Did she do anything? Yes, she got up, she made some toast. No, I grilled for her, and we got her a card for Caribou Coffee.
Nice.
Yeah, because she loves the coffee.
Yeah. Coffee's good.
And a card.
Drink it every day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, me too. It's a necessity.
It sure is.
It keeps the murder count down.
Yeah, it tends to do that.
Yeah.
So that you just had a nice day, got her a card. And...
Got her a card. I was nice to her.
Okay.
Special occasion, you know.
Okay.
What'd you do? You went down to Washburn to see your mom.
I went to Washburn.
Washburn.
Visited my mom and I guess my sisters.
Mm-hmm. They are one of them's a mother.
One of them is a mother. So they were there, and I got to meet my new nephew for the first time.
Sweet.
He's a tiny little baby that doesn't really do anything yet.
They're very boring.
Yeah.
And they're kind of stupid at that age, too.
I suppose. He really didn't do much of anything the whole time. I think Hannah actually held him most of the day, and he hardly made a peep.
Aw.
There was one thing that he kind of cried out about a little bit. Other than that, I think he kind of groans when he sleeps every once in a while. But I spent quite a bit of time playing with my other nephew in the sandbox.
How old is he?
He is
15.
Yes, he's 15. And we were playing in the sandbox. No, he's 2.5. We were just playing in the sandbox, and I got my mom a $40 Barnes & Noble gift card.
Nice, for her Nook.
For her Nook, yes. I decided to go for $40 because I was going to get her that for her birthday, and then didn't go to Barnes & Noble before I left town on her birthday. So I figured I'd make up for it by spending a bit more.
There you go. You doubled the amount.
I doubled the amount that I would have gotten previously. So, Now twice as many books. So many books.
Many books.
They're fairly affordable on the Nook.
They are, the digital ones.
You don't have to pay for the printing of anything.
Right, there's no overhead on their part.
Yeah, very little. There's a little bit of overhead.
Yeah, maybe the
server
keeping
space.
the power on. Yeah,
keep the power on.
Yeah.
But so that's what I went with, and it was a lovely Mother's Day. We had a grill. I suppose that you could call it a grilled turkey. It was a turkey on the grill.
Sure.
I mean, they didn't like take the turkey and set it on the rack or anything. It was in a a tinfoil tub.
Okay, a tin tub.
A tin tub,
Yeah.
and they made the turkey there, but it was on the grill outside, and spent a lot of the day outside. Absolutely lovely.
Was it a smoky turkey? Did they get some of that smoky flavor in there?
A little bit, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
More than an oven turkey.
Sure.
I suppose. I suppose it was a little smoky. One of the legs was a little burnt.
Ooh, that's good though.
I suppose. I don't think I had anything from there because I just didn't. My mom set to carving it before we started eating, and just because I don't know, that's what she wanted to do.
It's Mother's Day. Got a letter.
Yeah, and she was partway into it and was just like, "Shit."
Why? What'd you do?
She wasn't doing a very good job of it. But hey, most of the meat got off of that turkey, and it was damn good. So
awesome.
It was great stuff. Absolutely lovely day I had. Other things that I've been doing last weekend and just a little bit before you got here, I've been playing a lot of Minecraft.
Oh yeah,
because
you said that
I hadn't played it for like 2 years, and I figured, hey, it's time to maybe jump back into this and see what's different, what's going on. There's a lot of things that are different, and I remembered how relaxing that game typically is to play, and just how much of a good like time suck it can be, because for me, I tend to I have a really difficult time structuring my free time, and especially if there is, even with a video game that has like some element of story to it, I have like almost an anxiety about playing it, where I feel like I'm not going to be devoting the attention to it that I should be, that I'm going to be looking at my phone and doing all kinds of other stuff. Whereas Minecraft, it doesn't matter. You're just walking around, breaking blocks, killing some zombies that shuffle towards you very slowly and all that. Like it's just a fun, relaxing, lovely little game.
So there's no stress when you're playing Minecraft.
Very little. I mean, there are peaks of stress that pop up every once in a while when you weren't looking and suddenly like a creeper sneaks up on you and explodes. There was one where I went really, really deep into a cave system and was getting a lot of mining done, and I came across a lava pit, and I know typically that diamonds tend to spawn in areas adjacent to lava pits, so instead of mining all the way around it, I was going to build my way through the middle of the pit, and I accidentally hit a block of gravel that triggered a gravelanche.
A gravelanche?
Because gravel and sand, if you break the blocks that naturally generate, they will be affected by gravity. And there was a lot more than I thought there was, and it knocked me off of the little plank that I had built out into the lava, and I lost all of my shit.
Oh no, you lost your shit.
I lost my shit. I lost a ton of ore and armor and a whole bunch of stuff that I had with me, so I quit. I didn't rage quit, but I was just like, okay, I'm done for right now.
That's a good finishing point.
That's a good place to stop. But other than that, very relaxing game. Speaking of things that are kind of relaxing. Well, it's not really. It's sure. It's not really relaxing. It is just. It's more pleasant than the music I typically listen to, but still very energetic and engaging. I showed this to you earlier today.
Ah, yes.
I've been listening to something extremely out of character for my typical music tastes. There is an amazing funk band from, I believe.
Are they from the East Coast somewhere, aren't they?
No, they're from Michigan.
Oh, Michigan.
Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Uh-huh.
They're from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Or at least that's where they originated when they all met each other in college, I believe. It is a funk band, and good Lord, they are funky.
And it just gets funkier.
It gets funkier. They have that is a song of theirs that there's 4 different versions of, and even more versions when you consider the different renditions they've done live. It's called It Gets Funkier because every time they put a new version of It Gets Funkier out, it has indeed gotten funkier. The BPM increases, they'll add new instruments, they'll do it in a different cultural style.
Sure.
It's fantastic. There's a great video out that's not on their channel. It's a fan-made submission called It Gets Funkier, but every time it gets funkier, it gets funkier. And it's the 13 different versions of It Gets Funkier in increasing order of BPM until you get to It Gets Funkier 4, the newest version on their album from last year.
Which is insanely funky.
It's insanely funky.
They're called Wolfpack. We haven't mentioned that yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How could I not have mentioned their names?
I don't know.
Wolfpack. You've got Jack Stratton on everything. I think he just does whatever he wants, depending upon the song. And then the other featured band member that I know of is Joe Dart on the bass, who plays with a number of associated acts as well.
Sure, and he's a funky bass player.
Oh, my. Joe Dart sure can play that big guitar.
The big 4-string.
That big 4-string. And I've never seen him without sunglasses.
Sure.
Every Wolfpack video I've seen, or video featuring Wolfpack, he is wearing his Ray-Bans.
It's because he's too funky.
He's too funky to uncover his eyes.
Exactly.
It's delightful. For anyone curious, I would suggest you check out the song Darwin Derby to really get just a feel for the character of the band.
Yeah, actually, I mean, a lot of it's instrumental.
Yes.
But Darwin Derby is not.
Darwin Derby is not. Most of the times that there are vocals, it is featured artists on their records. The band, as it is an instrumental band, but there are vocals on many of their songs, but always on featured artists. Yeah, I would suggest starting with Darwin Derby and then check out It Gets Funkier because those 2 videos are just such a great summation of what the band is all about. They're a delight. Game of Thrones new episode happened. A lot of people ain't happy about it, including me. I'm not very happy with the way it went down. I'm not going to spoil it, but I imagine if you're listening and you're curious about Game of Thrones and you've seen anything about this episode, you probably are aware that people are unsatisfied with how it went, and I'm really curious as to how the season and the series is going to wrap up after that.
You know, okay, here's how I imagine it went down. The executives at HBO came to Weiss and Benioff and said, we want to do one more season of Game of Thrones, and their response was, fine.
Yeah. We've got Star Wars to do. We're going to go do Star Wars now. We're tired of Game of Thrones.
Oh, whatever. God.
Okay. Fine. Here you go.
6 of them.
We'll make 6 of them. They'll be longer, but we're not even going to try. Not even going to try, but we'll get it. Contractual obligations.
Doing this 8 years.
God. Yeah, it kind of feels that way. And like the episode wrap up is beginning to feel more and more like, listen to these 2 dipshits explain why the script didn't make sense. Or listen to these 2 guys talk about the script of the episode because it can't stand on its own.
Sure.
You shouldn't have to have that.
And now that there's more and more on the internet, you can find videos of people who actually acted in the thing,
speaking out against it,
shit talking this season of Game of
Thrones. That's when you know it's hard. That's when you know it's bad. Is when the actors and God bless them. Like they're doing a fantastic job. They're amazing actors. They're doing a great job with the subpar material they've been given, and they've still managed to squeeze some really great moments out of it, but it's so many of those are just overshadowed by things that are less than quality. And it's sad. It's sad to I feel a little sad. I can't imagine how someone who has watched the entire series as it has come out for the last 8 years feels.
You like me?
Like you.
Sad.
It's longer than 8 years. It's 9. It started in 2010 because they had the 2-year gap.
Oh, well, yeah, right.
Between
the last one and this one.
The 8 seasons.
Right.
Like and for me, it's like, this is where I chose to jump on.
Should have jumped on maybe earlier.
Maybe. And like I am well aware of how great so much of the rest of it is. And I've seen so many clips, and now I think I'm going to, once this is done, I feel like I'm going to rewatch, or I mean, it's not rewatch. Watch.
Yeah, give it an initial watch.
And stop at probably like the end of season 6.
Season 5. Stop at the end of season 5.
Don't even bother with you know, because I was thinking like,
I mean, you might as well.
The end of season 6 is Jon Snow becomes king in the North, and it's like, I can just pretend that Jon dealt with the Night King, and Daenerys went and conquered King's Landing, and everything was, and it was fine.
Everybody had ice cream.
Everybody had ice cream, and just make the rest up.
Sure.
You know, from the end of season 6. But yeah, the show died with Jon Snow, right?
Yeah.
It's sad to see something kind of fizzle out the way it is right now. It's sad and unsatisfying. At least they're moving on to Star Wars. I like, there's, how much more can they really damage it than Rian Johnson did? From a writing perspective, like how much worse are they than what we got with Rian Johnson as far as the way he treated Star Wars?
I feel like Star Wars should have ended in 1983.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I can't say that, because there's a lot of prequel associated stuff that I really enjoy, like the Clone Wars animated series. I really like that.
Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff of great value.
The animated stuff is good.
And I'm still excited, and I have confidence in Jon Favreau with the Mandalorian series. I have confidence in that, and it's got a bunch of actors I really like. Speaking of Game of Thrones, got Pedro Pascal in it.
Yes.
You got Giancarlo Esposito. We talked about this the other week. There's a lot of Werner Herzog. It's got a lot of things that make it very attractive to me.
Yeah.
And Dumb and Dumber are not touching it. So. That's what I've been calling them.
I wonder if other people are calling them, and I wonder if they know.
They know. I got that from online.
Okay.
Because they've been known online as D&D for a long time, and now people have turned that into Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber. Okay.
So we've got some beer here.
We do.
This is perhaps the darkest beer we've had yet on this podcast.
Yeah, you can't see. It's opaque.
It is. Well, it lives up to its name. It's Deschutes Obsidian Stout.
Indeed.
And as you said earlier, the smell of this definitely notes of espresso.
It's got some espresso notes in there.
Yes, some expressive notes of espresso,
and a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of espresso,
little chocolatey. Not quite as chocolatey, I'd say, as like a Guinness. Guinness is a bit more chocolatey. But yes, I very much enjoy this. I like this quite a bit.
Indeed.
So
it's like a dessert beer.
It is like a dessert beer. It's very rich. I like it. So it's time. We've belabored the point long enough.
Here it is.
They're coming at us,
ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Beelzebubs. So the album we're talking about tonight is Pantheon of the Nightside Gods. Came out April 26th on Century Media Records. It is, I would call it a melodic or symphonic black metal album, and the band behind it doesn't exist.
It's not. You know what I compared them to earlier is the Monkeys of black metal.
The Monkeys. I think Death Clock is a bit more appropriate.
Okay, yeah.
The Death Clock of black metal, or the Gorillas of black metal, even.
Sure.
They are a fictional band, a digital band based off of a comic strip by Finnish. I guess comic maker, digital artist, J.P. Anahan, Anoan, J.P. Anoan. Finnish names, man.
The Finns. Why?
Good old Finns.
Yes.
And the comic is, as you might expect, for an album came out of it being black metal. The comic is about a fictional black metal band and its members,
and
specifically.
Family.
Yes.
Yeah.
The vocalist and rhythm guitarist is a family man. It's like it's black metal Adam's Family.
Yes.
It's black metal Adam's Family, and instead of some of the weird gothic stuff in Adam's Family, you've got like, of course, satanic stuff, and then a fair amount of like Lovecraftian stuff going on in there as well.
They wear corpse paint.
They wear the whole family.
Yeah,
wears
the baby
corpse
and everything.
paint.
Yeah.
The baby. Their individual sets of parents. Well, his wife's mother is still alive. There's several comic strips dealing with the fact that her dad passed away, and her mom has not gotten over it, and she continues digging up his corpse and putting him in his chair in the kitchen.
Mom,
I keep on telling you need to get over it. Till death do us part, my ass. It is adorable.
Yes.
The comic is absolutely adorable. The family members, or I suppose I should start with the band members, the fictional band members. You've got, I believe it's supposed to be Sloth. Or Sloth. There's a little...
Right, a line through the O.
A line through the O. I don't know what that's called. And that is the main character and the vocalist and rhythm guitarist. Then you've got Obesix, the lead guitarist. Can you guess what his character trait is from his name?
Yes, guess his body type.
Guess his body type and his body shape. Then you've got Samael, or just Sam, who is their drummer, the newest member of the band, and also his daughter's boyfriend, which is an adorable, great storyline in the comic of Lilith getting Sam to go out with her and then getting him to try out for her dad's band. It's adorable. And then you've got the hulking huge bass player and backing vocalist in Hubath, who doesn't have a mouth, notably. His corpse paint is so thick it covers up any visual indication that he has a mouth. That's kind of the way it works with Sam too when he's wearing corpse paint. The other characters, I've mentioned a couple of them. There's his oldest daughter Lilith, who is a teenager, and then you've got Leviathan, who I think is like a preteen or a tween, and that's his son, who seemingly has the ability to open interdimensional portals, which is where their dog came from. Their dog is named Lupus, and he is a Cerberus type. He's got 3 heads, although it is suggested that he might be like a 3-headed Shiba Inu, because they made the Shiba meme, where it's like very, very wow, much much sheep.
The Doge.
The Doge, yes, might be the Doge, a 3-headed Doge, and then his wife Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Yes,
yeah.
Also known as just Lucy, and it's adorable. If I had to give this album a smell, I would call it sulfur.
You say it smells like sulfur.
Sulfur. There's it's just dripping in satanic atmosphere.
And so here's the funny thing is I was going to go with brimstone, but that's the same thing.
Yeah,
so.
that's literally the same thing, OJ. They're bringing the dark satanic themes on this very, very hard, and I love it so very much.
So very well produced.
Extremely well produced. Can we talk for a second about the vocal fidelity on this album? Holy shit.
Amazing.
They might be the best sounding screamed vocals I've ever heard. It's fantastic.
And even sings clean on one song.
Yes, there's even some clean singing.
Yeah.
The real life band members are mostly unknown, but I think the online community has managed to narrow it down more or less, definitely. And I checked it out as well and compared the two, and I'm pretty sure that the vocals in real life are probably done by Niilo Savanen from a Finnish melodic death metal band called Insomnium, and just based on the writing of the rest of the record, a lot of people have believed or are beginning to believe that perhaps the instruments were also done by Insomnium. The producer is Dan Svanö, who's a Swedish producer and musician who's worked with a number of bands that he's produced for Bloodbath. He's been in a whole bunch of bands. I didn't write the ones that he's been in down, but Nightingale, I think, is the most prominent one that he's been in. There are, what we do know are some of the featured artists. We've got ICS Vortex, who has worked with Dimmu Borgir, a band called Arcturus, and a band called Borknagar. And then we've got Lindsay Schoolcraft from Cradle of Filth, one of the newer members of Cradle of Filth, who does if you listen to the single, what's the second single they put out? That's Cathedrals of Mourning.
Yes,
if you listen to Cathedral of Mourning,
which is the title or the front track, the opening track.
Yes, the opening track.
Yeah.
I believe she does all of the female vocals on there that you hear. She's described as the narrative vocalist for Cradle of Filth, which I think is such a specific title. It's such an amazingly specific title. So those are the featured artists and kind of what we know about the members of the real band that produced this actual album that we listened to tonight.
Made by real people.
And yeah, we were talking about the production, and God, Dan Svanu kicked it out of the park. He didn't knock it out of the park.
No, he kicked it.
It sounds fantastic, and it still sounds like black metal to me. I've heard a lot of people compare it to like early 2000s Dimmu Borgir in some ways. But then there are parts that change later on in the album. You've got a grouping of songs that to me feels much more reminiscent of Opeth.
Yep.
Like the last couple of full songs, because the last two tracks are atmospheric instrumental bits, but like the last sort of group of songs that seem to lead into each other feel to me very much like an Opeth song, an old Opeth song
from the 90s.
From the 90s, yeah. A classic Opeth song with a bit more black metal flair to it, but still progressive, like Opeth would be. You've got the clean vocals, you've got the acoustic guitar, very very Opeth, much wow. I think it's important to ask at this point, does it slap?
Yes, it slaps.
Good God, it's sweet. No, not God.
Yeah.
Good Satan, does it slap? Oh, it slaps.
I almost broke a dish listening to this.
You were just scrubbing so intently.
Yes. Well, and especially, I mean, there are places where, and it's so succinct, the whole thing.
Yes.
Places where it'll go and it'll go into like an organ piece.
Yes.
And then suddenly we're back, and smashing you right square in the genitals.
Like, this might be a digital band of adorable black metal parodies in a sense, although it is a very loving parody.
It is.
It's more of a send-up or a love letter than a parody, and this album kind of reflects that feeling, because like there's nothing funny on this album.
No, it's not comedy.
It's not. Yeah, this is not a comedy album. Like the comic is funny and it's heartwarming and it's sweet. This album is not funny. This album is just straight up like high quality, high fidelity, really, really good, like progressive black metal. I don't know what else to call it. Progressive symphonic. It's great.
Yeah. There's
they
great
took it
melodies.
they took it very seriously. Very melodic.
Yeah. There was a song that had a really good lead throughout the entire thing.
There's a lot of those.
I'm trying to remember what names of songs.
Is it Nam Gloria Lucifer?
No.
Let me bring it up on my phone here.
All right.
We've got Cathedrals of Mourning.
No, it wasn't Cathedrals of Mourning. It's the first one.
The Faustian Alchemist. Is it Acheron?
Acheron, that's the song.
Acheron, yeah.
It's kind of a slower song.
Yeah, it is a little bit slower.
Yeah.
That song seems to be about reclaiming a lost love or some such, going to the realm of Acheron, or I can't remember what that refers to in like the biblical sense. I always think of the D&D realm. It's one of the outer realms in Dungeons and Dragons. It's like the realm of combat or whatever.
Sure.
The orcish gods and the goblinoid gods are constantly waging a never-ending war against each other in that realm. It has an actual, I think it's like, it's one of the rivers in the underworld. One of the rivers in Hades, I believe. there's like three different rivers in Hades. There's the Styx, but then I think the Acheron is also one of them.
There's Styx. There's Foreigner. There's
REO Speedwagon. Those are the three rivers.
The three rivers.
The three rivers of Hades.
The classic rock rivers of Hades.
Yes, the classical rock. In classical rock, these are the three rivers of Hades. Yeah, I think, but I do believe Acheron is one of the rivers in Hades.
Right.
I think, or some equivalent underworld.
I think of the Bells of Acheron is what I think of.
What does that refer to?
It's a Candlemas song.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool. Let's see. What else is there? What else? Do we want to move on to the score? Talk about the score. What do you think this deserves?
Are we talking about
out of 100?
Out of 100.
Yeah. What's the score
now?
Well, because I'm doing what's the score. So I usually do a percentage here.
Okay.
I tell you a percentage typically, but I'm asking you now what you think this album deserves percent-wise.
I say it gets at least a 90%.
A 90%. Okay.
Yeah.
I found 7 reviews, and 85 seemed to be the consensus. There was a lot of 4 out of 5, which to me, like from a looking at it, to me feels more like a 90, but mathematically it's an 80.
Right.
But when you're rating something out of a 5, like I would give a 90 to something that is really good, but not quite perfect.
Right.
But if you're doing that on a scale of out of 5 and you don't want to do half stars or whatever, system you're using,
okay,
then you have to give it a 4. Because some people don't do halves. Some people don't do halvesies, OJ. Did you know that? Some people refuse to do halvesies.
I do halvesies.
You do halvesies?
I'm cool with halvesies.
You're cool with halvesies?
Yeah.
There was one review that I saw that was 100%.
Really?
Somebody gave it a 100 out of 100.
See, I'm shy with doing that. I don't want to give something a 100%.
Nothing's perfect.
No.
Nothing is perfect. Except for maybe trying to think of a metal album that's... What's the closest thing... This could be fun. What's the closest thing that you know of to a perfect metal album?
A perfect metal album?
Yeah.
I'd probably just go with Rain and Blood.
Yeah, that's pretty damn close, ain't it?
Yeah.
Trying to think of something that I don't know if I've ever listened to something that I from my realm, I guess, from my generation, that
you
I
kids.
Could me. Me. I don't know if I've listened to something that I would describe as perfect. Anything that I would give a 100% or a 10 out of 10. I'm not entirely sure. There's probably stuff that I've listened to the first time and gone, that's a 10 out of 10, best thing I've ever heard. And then later on have come to be like, there's some issues here.
Yeah.
I will say, I think Everything Was Sound by Silent Planet. For from my catalog of stuff that I've listened to, I'm tempted to call that the closest thing to a perfect album that I've been around for the release of. It still gets me in a lot of ways that their newer one has sort of faded for me.
Really?
Maybe it's just a lot of memories I have for Everything Was Sound.
That is a big deal.
Yeah. It's like the first time you listen to something, how unspoiled you are.
See, I started listening to metal in 1986 when I was freshly in the 7th grade.
Yes. And someone was like, hey, check this out. It's Iron Maiden.
Yes. It was Iron Maiden, and then you remember that.
Yes, I remembered.
Yeah. And then, of course, Motley Crue, and that was the year Master of Puppets came out.
I believe you mean Motley Crue.
Motley Crue. And then, of course, it was the next year was the Anthrax Among the Living came out. And of course, the Rain and Blood came out in '86.
Yep.
Like I just said, Megadeth Peace Sells, but Who's Buying came out.
You really started listening to metal at the absolute perfect time,
right?
When it started to explode into 8 million different genres. Like when it just started to really branch out into things beyond thrash metal, I guess. But then you had, very soon after thrash metal started being the big thing and bands started getting big, then you've got death metal kind of comes up from the underground and replaces it. And then you kind of always had grindcore hanging out in the back, just tripping out of its fucking mind on heroin and going, I don't know what to do. Grindcore, if metal genres were personified as people, grindcore would be that like weird junkie that you don't know why you hang out with him, but there is something about him that like is entertaining.
Yeah. You bailed him out of jail twice now.
You bailed him out of jail a couple of times. Yeah. It's like, I don't know what I get out of this.
His girlfriend comes over and breaks all your shit.
Yeah. But, yeah, like shit's never going to get together. And then you've got, thrash metal is kind of the older experienced one.
Yes.
Death metal is always had a chip on his shoulder, but is generally a nice guy, but still kind of has a chip on his shoulder.
Indeed.
Metalcore is the kind of annoying young kid that still, he's a nice kid. He's just got to grow up a little bit. What else is there? Doom metal is just that really morose goth kid. Or goth guy, not a kid. Now I'm putting it in high school. I'm imagining this is a high school anime now.
Of course.
Not that I don't watch anime, but like I know it's a thing that exists where it's like high school focused anime. I want to make this now where it's every genre, it's just genres of music. It focuses on the metal ones, but all the other genres it's this friend group basically of the metal genres. You got a message.
I got a tweet.
You got a tweet.
Yeah,
cool.
I've been tweeted.
Getting me out of my digression here. Thank you, OJ's phone, for getting me out of my digression.
Huh, funny, the tweet says, "Tell Kale to shut up."
Tell Kale to shut the fuck up. He's been going on about high school anime.
That's not what it says at all.
Yeah.
Right.
What are your favorite? What's your favorite songs? Your favorite song?
My favorite song, the one that got me, is the more dynamic song, the Crowned Daughters.
The Crowned Daughters. I really enjoy that one.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted to call that my favorite, but what I wrote down was Nam Gloria Lucifer.
Oh, sure. Great song.
I really enjoyed that one. But I'd say the Crowned Daughters, and then the one that immediately follows that, which is the song that follows the Crowned Daughters is Dark Mother.
Ah, yes.
They kind of lead into each other. I enjoyed that coupling quite a bit. But Nam Gloria Lucifer I like quite a lot. And everything is really good. And every song kind of has a different face. Every song is sort of its own thing in a couple of different ways. Sort of represents different parts of black metal, the different faces of black metal.
They covered all of black metal except for the lo-fi black metal.
Yeah. There's no lo-fi stuff on here.
No.
And I don't know if there's... Well, I mean, Crown Daughters gets close to like folk black metal.
Yes.
So yeah, basically everything except for classic mayhem. This is on the complete opposite end of the scale from classic mayhem.
There was no 4-track recorder in the room.
Yes.
when this was done.
This was some proper good shit.
Indeed.
And it really, this album really, like, the thing that I love about this is, despite the fact that it is an album that is marketed as, this digital cartoon band.
Yes.
It really, really stands on its own. And I'm so impressed and so happy with that. Because it could so easily just be a gimmick.
Sure.
But this album just stands on its own.
I mean, even the music video for the opening track.
Yes.
It's funny to watch, but on the other hand, I felt my face muscles start to hurt because I was smiling so much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
great.
Delightful.
Yeah.
I think I when I started listening to the full album, and I listened to Cathedrals of Mourning for the first time, I had a huge fucking grin on my face. Like, this is amazing. because I'd been following the comic for probably the last 6 months or so, and like I saw it and just wow, so impressed and so happy with it,
Indeed.
Speaking of being happy with it, what is the placing of this? Where do you place this?
I'm going to give this a gold.
I'm also giving it a gold. It deserves nothing less, I think, than a gold. It's fantastic. So congratulations, JP Ahonen and the other people behind this album.
Wherever you are,
you've got a gold medal from us.
Yeah, gold medal from North Dakota.
We'll send it to you in the mail.
It's in an envelope. It's on its way.
How many stamps do I need to put on something for international shipping?
Do we send it to Finland? Is that where we're going?
I guess. Maybe I'll send it to Century Media Records and just be like, "Hey, can you give this to JP
or whoever?
Maybe give it to Dan. I don't know. Like, yeah, I'll send it to Century Media. There we go.
Century Media has put out some good albums.
Oh yeah,
over the last 20 years.
They're a pretty big record label.
They are.
They've got a lot of people on there.
Yeah, I actually I got a free CD from Century Media. It was a compilation of metal, and it had a band on there called Old Lady Drivers.
Old Lady Drivers. Yeah. I need the bottle opener.
Okay, here you go. Sorry.
I thought you would understand that I needed the bottle opener after I grabbed a beer and went, eh.
I thought you were just.
I was trying to avoid having to do this.
You were using the force. That's what I thought you were doing.
Well, I did use the force. I influenced you to pick it up for me. So, Old Lady Driver?
Yeah, Old Lady Driver. I think Strapping Young Lad was on there as well.
Are they talking about Adam Driver's grandma?
No. Well, because you name your metal band after something that's terrible.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of, yeah, that is, okay.
Yeah.
I kind of understand it now.
And they had Naked City on there as well, which didn't seem to fit, but whatever.
Naked City.
You ever heard of John Zorn? Do you know who that is?
I don't think so.
He's this. He bills himself as the crazy Jewish saxophonist.
Fantastic self-marketing.
Yeah, and it's great. Yeah,
I'm into it.
His band Naked City. I mean, I think Fred Frith is in there. But it's just really. I mean, it's really nice, smooth jazz, and then suddenly he loses his shit and starts going on his saxophone.
That's amazing.
It's great. And Yamatsuka I believe is the vocalist for that. Yamatsuka I was the vocalist for the Boredoms. The Boredoms are a band from Japan. They bill themselves as being completely unlistenable.
Well, the Boredoms, can I introduce you to Anal Cunt? What about them? What about that band? Because they're pretty unlistenable.
Actually, the Boredoms are a little more unlistenable.
Really?
Yeah.
I will have to give this a shot.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
Because at least AC has some structure to it.
A little bit, yeah. Depending upon the song, especially.
Yeah.
And the album, too. Also, I didn't realize how many albums AC put out. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Well, because it's their classic anti-music grindcore,
sure,
which takes no effort.
None, no thought at all.
It takes, or I won't say no effort. It takes very little effort. It was all about the personality,
yes,
rather than the the musicianship.
They're a concept band.
Yeah, AC, yes, is a concept band, very much so. What's the concept? We're a bunch of fucking dope fiends. Some of them, especially I can't remember the lead singer's name.
I can't either off the top of my head.
Damn it. Who literally died of a heroin overdose.
Yes.
The only person in that band who I think wasn't a raging dope fiend is Scott Hull, and he was only there for, I think, when they recorded one album, and then he went off. Then he went off to do Agoraphobic Nosebleed and Pig Destroyer.
Fuck this! I'm joining Pig Destroyer.
It was fuck this. I'm creating Pig Destroyer.
Right, creating Pig Destroyer.
Creating Pig Destroyer and creating Agoraphobic Nosebleed. Because Pig Destroyer is like an actual band that does tours and plays shows and stuff, and Agoraphobic Nosebleed was basically him just fucking around and making drum machine grindcore, basically. They have played live shows, though, with their 3 vocalists. And they still haven't put out part 2. Agoraphobic Nosebleed, God, like 3 years ago already. Put out an EP. Really, it's an album because it's a like really slow sludge metal album. It's 3 songs, but it's called Arc. And they're doing a thing apparently where they're going to release an album where every member of the band, or at least every vocalist in the band, does something in their style. And so Kat Katz was the first one, and she came from a sludge metal background. Or it's... Am I getting... No, it's sludge metal. Because I sometimes I get sludge metal and doom metal confused. Sludge metal is dirty and slow. Doom metal is sad and slow.
Sad and slow, yeah.
So yeah, she comes from a sludge metal background. So it's Agoraphobic Nosebleed, perhaps one of the most like just coked out bands ever doing a sludge metal record, and it actually sounds pretty good. But I haven't seen anything about their next one, because I think one of their vocalists is mainly a grindcore vocalist. So I think they're doing one with that, and then there's one that's like probably going to be hardcore punk. So I haven't seen anything or heard anything about them doing anything different, and they've played only like 4 live shows in the entirety of their existence, which goes back to like 97 or something. So yeah, grindcore.
There you go.
I don't know how we got on this tangent, but
what should we do next week?
Next week, well, it's your week.
Sure,
you tell us what we're going to do.
Well, I have 3 albums in mind. I had 3 different ones in mind.
Well, choose one.
Okay.
Unless 2 of them are grindcore records that we can put down in 20 minutes.
None of them are grindcore records.
Okay.
They're all from no one of them is from the 80s. Let's go with that one.
Okay.
Let's go with Exodus.
Exodus, the band Exodus.
Pleasures of the Flesh.
Pleasures of the Flesh.
Yes.
By Exodus.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if I can really listen to Exodus because I haven't listened to Genesis.
And then we did Leviticus.
You know what? Tim Allen entered the room.
Let's, instead of Pleasures of the Flesh, let's do Bonded by Blood.
Why?
Because Bonded by Blood is the better album.
Okay. We'll do Bonded by Blood by Exodus next week on the Bronze Metalist Podcast.
Yes, indeed. And now for your wacky weekend weather.
Wow! It's gonna be raining frogs. Get it? Because Exodus.
Right.
It's raining frogs. Because Exodus.
One of the plagues of Egypt.
One of the plagues. I don't think it rained frogs. I think it's just a bunch of frogs showed up, right?
Well, it was locusts, there was frogs, the water turned to blood.
Yeah.
Boils, I think.
Yeah. And then Death showed up and killed a bunch of kids.
Yeah, Chuck Schuldiner showed up and killed a bunch of Egyptians.
Chuck Schuldiner came from the future. Killed a bunch of Egyptian children. I feel like Chuck would not agree to that.
No, he
was a nice, lovely man.
Yeah, he liked puppies and shit.
He would not do such a thing. He also wasn't a Christian, so I feel like if God was like, "Hey, Chuck, go back in time and kill a bunch of people," he'd be like,
"What?
Nah, I'm not. I'm not going to do that.
I don't know how to do that.
I don't know how. Can you send people back in time?" I'm just playing guitar up here with my buds, Lemmy, and we discussed this, I think, at work one day.
If there's a metal band in heaven,
if there is a metal band in heaven, who is in it? Bass is Lemmy.
Yeah.
Lead guitar has got to be Chuck, right?
Yeah, or was he rhythm guitar? Maybe.
Okay.
Like he did some good leads, but yeah.
Okay. Rhythm guitar with Chuck. Who's a dead vocalist? Who's a dead metal vocalist?
A dead metal vocalist. Well, as you we mentioned, the guy from AC.
God, I can't remember his name.
I can't either.
I know the meme is that Suicide Silence sucks, but like Mitch Lucker could do it for heavier songs, I guess.
And all of these guys would be saying, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
Yeah, why am I in? How did I get here? Well, it depends on what version of heaven it is. If it's the Presbyterian heaven, then it makes sense why they're there, because I think they do the whole thing where it's like, it doesn't matter what you believe, Jesus forgave everybody. So if there is a heaven, we all get to go to it. But I think that's sort of the Presbyterian thing. I don't know. Presbyterians are like the most liberal, like, Christian church. I appreciate that about Presbyterians. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it would be funny just getting there. Just, how the fuck? What, you weren't a dick?
You weren't a complete dick.
You weren't a complete. You didn't like kill any kids or anything. So, yeah, welcome to heaven. It's pretty chill up here. Cool.
All right.
All right, awesome.
Is there meth?
Well, not really.
No, well, okay.
How do you feel about wine?
Take what I can get, I guess. Is it Mogan David?
I would much rather have, although I will fully admit I would not go to Valhalla, because then I would have to die in battle.
Sure. That's kind of how I want to go. That's on my list.
Die in battle?
Dying
with
battle?
What? With whom?
I don't know.
I don't know that either. Like,
Cancer.
No. Is that, maybe you could consider that a battle? I don't know if, because they just say dying in battle. What if you're fighting a bear?
Right, which is also on my list.
There you go. Like, if you're fighting a bear and it kills you, does that count as dying in battle? I feel like Odin would have some respect for that. Although it's not just Odin. There's also Freya. Freya gets her half.
Right.
I can't remember what her afterlife is called. It translates to something like Freya's Garden or some shit like
it's
that.
Under the Big Turtle.
Yeah, it's just, yes, and I almost said Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones,
and God of War.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got it's like a chill forest to hang out in instead of a big huge hall with a bunch of yelling sweaty dudes.
I kind of like the forest idea.
Yeah, I kind of like that one too.
Yeah.
Rather than Valhalla, I'd almost rather go to the chill forest and hang out with Freya. Shit, she's got it. She's probably super hot. I'd rather look at her than Odin all day.
Yeah. Hang out with a bunch of drunken dudes.
Yeah.
With battle scars.
Well, I mean, there's also a lot of drunken dudes in Freya's place, because it's not based on gender.
Ah, right.
It's just she gets her half of everybody.
I mean, it's kind of like why I took food and nutrition class in high school instead of shop. I'm gonna hang out with all you sweaty dudes, or
I did both.
You can make popovers with the ladies.
I did both, because in my school, the home ec was an elective for some people later on, but in 7th and 8th grade we had home ec, or I think we called it FACS. It'd be FACS. I can't remember what that stood for. Family, and I don't remember. But
all sorts of things came to mind. I'm not going to say any of them.
Yeah. But I and a bunch of other people were in it simply because we were not in band. And the school did not know what to do with us in the time when most of the other people were in band. So we made food.
Sounds awesome.
For ourselves. And it was pretty good. It was fairly good. I was, I'd say probably about half of my class, but it's a very small class, so that's 8 people. Anyway, God, we've kind of prattled on.
We have.
But, yeah. Pantheon of the Nightside Gods.
Great album.
Fantastic album.
Give it a listen.
Adorable webcomic for Beelzebubs.
Give it a read.
Yeah, listen to the album, read the webcomic if you're interested in, if you think black metal culture is interesting and some of the tropes and whatnot. Look it up. It's Beelzebubs. Belzebubs. Beelzebubs. It's adorable in sort of a messed up way. So it's perfect for me. So if you like this sort of thing, just a couple of fellas discussing stuff they like, well, please find our social media pages and share our posts. We post links to every episode, so please share it on your page with your friends. If you've got friends who are metalheads and you think they might enjoy us talking about albums, or at the very least us recommending albums every week, then let them know. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. We appreciate your listen.
We love you anyway.
We love you anyway. So, thanks for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.